Hello friends, this is Ponniyin Selvan, episode 20. In last week's episode, we saw a little bit of Paravur Princess Nandini's backstory. Enthralled by her flashbacks, did we forget someone critical? Yes, let us get back to where, why and how did Vandiyathevan vanish from his last hiding spot. As instructed, Vandiyathevan hid next to the entrance of the vault, and from there he saw Nandini meet with the sorcerer. Although he tried really hard to hear what they were talking, from that distance Vandiyathevan couldn't. So he waited a while, recalling everything that transpired between them. Why did she try to lure me? What could be her problem with Princess Kundavai? Oh, the moment I said her name, I could literally see the venom spewing out of her. Reminds me of the cobra that appeared in my dream the other night. Why does it feel like every inch of my body is trying to warn me against her? I better not stay here and wait for her help. If I accept her help, I will become indebted to her for life. And she is not a woman I want to stay indebted to. I better find my own way, thought Vandiyathevan to himself. He looked around the huge unlit vault, and the entrance to it was a huge wooden gate, but a large lock was hanging from it. Vandiyathevan walked past it with his hands brushing against the gate, and to his surprise, the large gate had a small door in it which creaked open. Guess it was his lucky day. Someone had left it open. He quietly opened the door, stepped inside, and closed the door behind him. While he opened the door, the light from outside brightened up the room momentarily. Vandiyathevan realized he's stepping into a big hall with lots of thick round pillars. But the moment he closed the door, the room became completely dark. He waited a couple of minutes for his eyes to adjust, but to no avail. The room was pitch black. There was no difference between his eyes open and closed. So he stretched out his hands and slowly walked forward, expecting to bump into the pillars. His hands touched the first two pillars, but after that the room was strangely empty. He bumped into nothing. He kept walking, expecting to hit a wall or a pillar, but no. He wondered if he was somehow blindly walking a perfectly circular path. Just as he was starting to panic in the dark, his eyes caught a small light far away in the room. It was a fiery torch moving closer and closer, and he realized it was a man walking towards him. But the dim light showed Vandiyathevan his nearest pillar, and he quickly hid behind it. As the person came closer, Vandiyathevan could see that there were 3 people. 2 of them carried a fiery torch, and the one without walked in between them. What a surprise! It was Kandamaran, and the other one looked extremely handsome, even in that dim light, like a male version of Nandini. It was Madurandagadevar. The third person could just be a guard. Then it hit Vandiyathevan that the important work Kandamaran told he had was in fact arranging safe transport for Madurandaga from Kadambu. They were bringing him in through a secret entrance, so his departure and arrival remains a secret. He did not wish to reveal himself to Kandamaran, as he did not know how he might react to his presence there. So he stayed hidden, and meanwhile in the dim light, he absorbed as many details about the room, so he could get away from there once they leave. He realized that there was a stairs leading down to a floor below the ground. He quickly decided to stay hidden below, wait for the men to return, and then follow them out of the palace. Once the men left, Vandiyathevan managed to climb down the stairs in the dark. But this room was not as dark, and Vandiyathevan could see heaps of something glittering and sparkling. He realized that he was standing in the most guarded, most famed place of the Chola dynasty. Yes, the treasury. The heaps were all gold, silver, diamonds, rubies and emeralds. Vandiyathevan had goosebumps when he became fully aware that he was standing in a place only a selected few people of the royal family had the privilege to enter. Its riches beyond the imagination of a common man, accumulated over centuries of victories. Some of it could be Vanarkulam's too, when the Cholas defeated them, thought Vandiyathevan to himself. So, some of this is actually mine. He grabbed a bunch of gold coins. He wore the crown over the head. He took the sword and swashed them around. While he was getting carried away, he spotted a weird, white, smooth object in the pile. He bent closer and closer to take a look. It was a human skull. As he was intensely looking at it, the skull moved forward a few inches, and Vandiyathevan was genuinely spooked. He jumped back a few feet, but a rat climbed out of its eyes and ran into the dark. This momentary intrusion brought Vandiyathevan back to his sense. He dropped all the gold, ornaments, everything else, and stepped back from it. He reprimanded himself for losing sight of his mission and for being seduced by women and gold. The night was testing him in ways that he never imagined. He stood in wait for a long time at the bottom of the stairs, looking up to see if the room lights up. And as he predicted, the room did light up, but on both ends. On the palace end of the room, Kandamaran and the guard walked in with a fiery torch. From the castle wall end of the room, Nandini and Periya Palvettariyar walked in with a fiery torch. Vandiyathevan was eager to see how their interaction would go. They met in the middle, talked for a minute in a low voice. Kandamaran then continued to walk towards the castle wall exit, but Periya Palvettariyar stopped the guard and gave some instructions to him. Vandiyathevan couldn't hear them at all. He waited till Palvettariyar and Nandini leave the room, then quickly started following the guard, following Kandamaran. When they reached the end of the room, the guard started turning into a secret lever hidden in the wall. The concealed door opened, leading straight out of not just the wall, but the castle wall too. But before Kandamaran could leave, Vandiyathevan noticed the guard covertly fetch a knife from his belt and stab Kandamaran right on his back. Kandamaran fell down with his body hanging outside the door and his legs preventing him from completely tipping over. The guard bent down to push Kandamaran out of the door completely, and Vandiyathevan couldn't wait any longer. He attacked the unsuspecting god from behind. The guard, although surprised, quickly gathered himself, fetched the fire torch and tried to hit Vandiyathevan with it. But Vandiyathevan easily overpowered the guard, pushed him against the floor, tied him up using the guard's own clothes, collected all his weapons and threw it away. Then he rushed to attend to his friend. Kandamaran had already lost a lot of blood and was unconscious. He was moaning incoherently. "Kandamara, wake up! Wake up. You'll be alright. Completely alright. We have seen so much more in the battlefields. This is nothing. Just stay with me, said Vandidevan and lifted him on his shoulders. He took a step out the door without noticing what's on the other side and skidded down uncontrollably with Kandamaran's full weight on his shoulders. It was a steep downward slope. He frantically grabbed onto the root of a nearby tree and came to a stop. When he leaned to see what was at the other end of the slope, he realized it was the moat with hungry crocodiles swimming around. Just missed. Vandidevan breathed a sigh of relief. He steadied himself and carried Kandamaran higher up the slope and laid him down where it was safe. With this nail-biter ends today's episode. Did Vandidevan manage to get Kandamaran to safety? Let's watch in the coming episodes. So, keep following Kadhatellaporom channel. Until then, bye-bye.